Hey everyone, this is Alex and Mike. Welcome to Sage Insights, another episode. We are here today to talk about our favorite plugins. We're going to do like a top 10 essential must-have, go get it right now WordPress plugin list.
I'm excited for this. I want to hear yours, and then we'll see who
So,
has the ultimate essential list. If you only had to pick five, I mean, there's so many to
yeah,
choose from. All are, well, many are good in its own way, but
Mike, look, we have the same chair and the same haircut.
yeah.
All right, so you want to start? Should I throw one out? You throw one out? How do you want to do this?
Yeah, we can go back and forth.
All right, you go first.
All right. I picked the Elementor plugin, not because it's the most superior drag and drop builder, but because of how easy it is to control all aspects for rapid deployment of landing pages. Focus on paid search and in the e-commerce space. It makes it very easy to build landing pages and edit them very quickly without the need of a developer. All the elements can be changed without any coding, without any CSS knowledge. Again, it's not the best drag and drop builder. It's by far one of the most popular. But for me, I think Elementor is an essential plugin for someone looking to put landing pages together very quickly.
Can you comment as Elementor versus Bakery, for example?
So essentially they do the same thing. I personally like Elementor better just because it requires less CSS. Now, for overall building of a website, perhaps WP Bakery is the same. I think it's a matter of, picking and choosing. It's Ford versus Chevy, Mercedes versus BMW.
Sure.
A lot of it's personal preference. They're going to give you the same result. WP Bakery has been around for a lot longer. It merged with another builder that was very popular. Elementor's been a little bit newer over the last, certainly the last 2 years it's really taken off, but it's been around for about 5 years, so the market share is much smaller. But for those who use it, really seem to like it, and it makes it, they have so many plugins and attachments to it, you can really create any functionality you want from it.
Nice. Very good. Very good. All right. So Elementor, we're really going to jump around here because my number one must-have, absolutely mandatory plugin, Wordfence.
Out of all the plugins, Wordfence is your number one pick.
It's hard to say. My top five, no particular order, but it really, really is super important. There's so much nonsense going on the web today. You would agree. Hacking attempts are just continuing to rise more and more and more. I see it on a pretty frequent basis. Without having some kind of superior security functionality on your website, you are leaving yourself open to problems. We see it far too often in the business that we are in. We monitor, more than 100 websites currently, most of which are using Wordfence. You would be amazed to see how many attempts from all over the world are happening, whether it be bots, whether it be hackers, whether it be whatever it is. Without having the real security, you're leaving yourself up to
Agreed.
Big
said. It's definitely a good plugin. We can do a whole episode just on security plugins. I know it very well. I've used it for many years. What is your favorite feature on it?
Favorite feature on, it's a good question. I would say I like the ability to lock out login form only to US or only to specific IPs. Love that. It's like literally 2 or 3 clicks and you are essentially stopping, I would say, a significant portion of issues right there. The scanning in the background, the Wordfence Central, I like really a lot, so we can see everything in one place. I think it's a really well-built, fantastic tool.
Interesting that you said about the lockout, because I think one of my favorite features is the brute force section for the controls, where you can lock out any invalid usernames.
Yep.
So unless you have, admin as your own username, which, separate conversation on why you should not have that. If anyone tries to use a username that's incorrect, it'll automatically block them out.
Yeah, just happened today on one of our client accounts. An admin blocked out for 1 month and permanently blocked the IP address without having to do anything.
All right.
It's worth the $99 a year, guys. Go buy it right now.
All right, second plugin. You want to go?
No, I went. You go.
WPForms. A lot of people like Contact Form 7. Again, I think it's part of personal preference. I think WPForms is very easy to create the forms. You can take payments over them. You can do the multi-step forms. Just very easy to use, very versatile, priced reasonably well, and just overall a solid plugin, many integrations to get the form into whatever email platform you're using or into a CRM. So that is my second pick.
Interesting. You and I are the same in many ways, but different in many ways also. I would never have chosen, I don't have much experience with WPForms.
I know you're a Contact Form 7 guy. Contact Form 7 is great. It's been around forever, very powerful, except you need significant CSS and adjustment to get the forms to render correctly.
Agreed.
Devices, it's very complicated to get the forms mapped out if you need special CSS labels to trigger events. Not my personal favorite. It's just, I think, personal preference.
I'll say I do like Gravity Forms a lot too, for a couple of different reasons. I think
Gravity Forms is solid.
Well
expensive.
Built. Notifications work really, really well. Routing of emails, issues. I like that one too, but very cool. Very cool.
Gravity Forms is a solid plugin. I think it gets a little expensive when you get the add-ins and all the additional features, but overall, it's, I think any of the three, you can't really go wrong.
Agreed.
What's your second one?
All right, my second one, WP Rocket, must have. Absolutely.
WP Rocket.
Yes. Essentially, it will, upon loading onto the website with very, very little optimization, will already significantly increase the loading speed of your website. There is nothing more irritating than going to a website and it takes 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 8 seconds, whatever, to load. Really, really bad. So I think it's a great plugin. Really well developed, and with some additional customizations by those that know how, it can really, really make a significant impact on page loading of your website for a huge number of reasons. And I recommend that in a big way.
So very interesting what the first two that you picked versus the first two that I picked. I picked ones for building out and designing of sites. You're picking performance, which in many ways are probably the most important, because it doesn't matter how good of a site you have. If it doesn't load or it gets hacked, certainly it doesn't really matter what you ended up creating.
Yeah.
Now, with WP Rocket, I've used probably almost all the caching plugins out there. WP Rocket makes it for a solid site, as long as it's not like a news type of site where you would not want the pages to necessarily be cached, or at least certain pages. You have a lot of control over all of the elements, and I think WP Rocket is probably the best caching plugin you can get.
I think it's probably recognized as the most powerful one. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it's just literally immediate results. Obviously, your page loading is a major function of hosting, if not mostly that. But this paired together with correct hosting and a few other things, you can really have a very, very fast site, and highly recommended.
All right, number 3. Google Tag Manager for WordPress, previously known by Duracell Tommy's Google Tag Manager. I think it is so important to be able to have all of your scripts, or as many of the scripts and tags that are going to load from the site, to load from Tag Manager, because it will offset the loading of it, where your page will load and then it'll fire the tags as needed. Whereas if you were to put your analytics tag and your conversion tracking and your JavaScript for a chat, and if everything's on the page versus going into Tag Manager, it's going to all try to load in priority level, thus making the initial load time of the site significantly longer, because everything has to load. Whereas when you use something like a Tag Manager plugin, Tag Manager will load the Tag Manager script, and then the individual scripts will load as needed. So use it. A lot of settings that you can control. You can track how far people scroll. Just significantly saves you amount of time. So Tag Manager for WordPress is my number 3 pick.
Very nice. Very nice. My number 3 pick is Imagify. It is an image compression tool, works extremely well via API, relatively inexpensive. I mean, nothing, and really, really, really works well to significantly compress large image sizes on your website, which in turn will make sure that they load faster. I have situations that happen all of the time where clients will say to me, "Oh, I'm uploading a 1500 by something pixel image. Isn't that okay?" And I said, "Well, no, if it's 3 megabytes, it's not okay." And there's a difference between uploading of a certain pixel size and making sure that the overall file size is not overwhelming. So I think that as a matter of good housekeeping, I will compress the images on my own through another service prior to ever uploading on a site, and then connecting Imagify to ensure that the thing is optimized and compressed as best as possible without losing quality of that image.
Right. When it comes to image compression, certainly from back pre-websites, the bigger the image, the higher the DPI or the resolution, the better it was, because it needed to be able to handle what would be lost when things were printed. Now, realistically, 72 DPI would be more than enough. You don't need these massive file sizes, and most images have extra data on the back end, like what camera took it, what date the picture was taken at. All of these little bytes of data are stored on the image, making it physically bigger. Now, most of those data points aren't really needed if you're not doing some sort of photography or some sort of editing. So using these compression services will remove that extra data, making the file size physically smaller without having any impact to the actual images.
Yep, decreases your loading time and makes the page load faster, which is obviously always a good thing.
Number 4. WP Mail SMTP by WPForms.
Yes, I absolutely love that plugin. I should have thought of that.
It's a good one. It's a standalone plugin, unrelated to the, not reliant on the WPForms plugin that I previously mentioned, but it's just by the same company. Now, what I like about this plugin is it changes the way you send email from a website. So when someone submits a contact form, by default, it's going to be sent via PHP. Now, oftentimes, PHP will either not make it into other servers because of security settings, because it can be manipulated, or it gets caught in spam traps. What this plugin does is it'll change the way it'll send. So it sends it over a more secured line. Usually it's done through an API connection, very simple to set up, either using something like SendGrid or being sent over Gmail if you aren't sending a lot. And it will change the way. So you'll go from not receiving, you're not receiving contact forms, or you're not receiving uploads from your site. You switch it over, automatically you'll start getting it. Whenever someone complains that they're not receiving their contact forms, first thing I typically look at would be, how are the messages being sent? Because often if you're just using the default setting, it's a PHP issue.
It's either going to not be delivered at all. There could be some waiting period. Sometimes it comes 10, 15, 20 minutes later. Can't have that. You're not spending money in order to direct traffic to a website and then not receiving that instantly. I, as a matter of just process, will put SendGrid on every single site that I develop and transfer. I think it's the best way to go. And yes, I'm surprised I didn't think of that one.
All right, what's number 4 for you?
I thought of one that I use. I tried to think, what do I use a lot? And I love AllinOne Migration. AllinOne Migration is an amazing tool when you are migrating a website from A to B. It's something that, again, well documented. I think has 2 million plus downloads on WordPress. Great customer service. Usually 95% of the time will just do what it needs to do. No matter the size of the site, whether it be a few hundred megabytes or even into the 5, 6, 10 gigs that I've seen in the past. Great for backups as well. And I'm just a big fan of that particular plugin, and I recommend it for all things to do with migrating from point A to point B.
You actually showed me that one. Previously, I've used Updraft Plus or some of the other ones. Mm-hmm. Where I think AllinOne Migration really excels at is it will change the database names even if you're going to a different domain.
Yeah.
And that will save a ton of trouble because it's so easy to migrate the site or copy over the pages, but then the database gets overlooked, and then you load up, and then you get that critical error, and now you're trying to figure out why it's not loading.
And not
solid
just that,
plugin.
in most URLs across the board will be updated, even on pages and posts as well, which is nice.
Yeah,
So,
it's solid.
yeah, it's really a fantastic plugin. Highly recommend it. I think $80 to buy one time. I think can't live without it.
Yeah, it's free unless the site is. You can use the free version if the site's tiny, like a couple pages. I think.
Got
if
it.
It's like less than 300 megs. I think.
Got it.
All right, number 5. RankMath.
Okay.
I personally believe it is superior. I think it is better than Yoast paid version for free.
You're saying that RankMath free is better than paid Yoast?
If you look feature for feature, I think you get more features out of RankMath that essentially do the exact same thing. Now, again, it's important to understand the purpose of RankMath and Yoast and what they actually do. For the most part, both of them just provide guidance as far as SEO best practices. So it'll look at your title and it'll say, okay, your title's too short, or you don't use enough keywords. Now, it doesn't necessarily fix a lot of the problems, although they both will fix some aspects. But as far as what they do and, the integration and how you can use it on a regular basis, I think RankMath is my favorite SEO plugin.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
And it's free.
Huh. And they don't have a paid version?
No.
Wow.
They make their money off their themes. They also are a theme developer.
Are they? Oh, I didn't know that.
And I've had very good success with their themes. I've had good success with their rankings through RankMath. RankMath is only a couple years old, but they have great response. Their support's great, and I've got good results from it.
Well, my 5th was actually Gravity Forms. And
Gravity Forms.
We've mentioned it already, so I'm thinking maybe I should make a quick change in my top 5 in order to make this more interesting. What do you think?
Okay.
You know what I'll do? Here's what I'll say. With respect to a free option for live chat on your website that many refer to as a chat bot, which it is not, Drift. I like Drift a lot.
That's a good one.
Drift is definitely has automation options that cost a significant amount, but out of the box, it is free, has a lot of options available. Can't tell you how many conversations are started with me because of that little widget that pops up on the bottom right saying, hey, this is Alex. How can I help you? And I really like it, and I'm a fan of their company. What do you think?
Drift is great. Chat's, very important. Often, people might have a quick question. They want to get a little more information.
Yes.
You can do a lot with their free version. And anything to, provide more value to the customer, I think is, certainly a win.
I think it's less intrusive in a way. Would you agree with me? I mean, you don't have to put in an email address. You don't have to put in anything if you don't want to. You just have to ask a question. If you hear something you like, maybe you'll continue the conversation. If not, you can move on, and you don't have to, make that step of submitting a form or picking up the phone and talking to somebody.
Yeah, I mean, it's very customer friendly. I think most chat applications have the ability to do that, although some people, if they just think that, they need to capture the person's information, I suppose for B2B, filtering out some of some inquiries could potentially help reduce, tire kicking. But overall, I think Drift is a solid chat widget.
Yeah, I've done a little bit less with Intercom. I like them a lot as well. I think their interface is better, I would say, on the website side, but I don't have as much experience with it, so I can't say at this time. So, Mike, we talked about 10, right? Have we gone over all?
That's right.
All right. I think everybody should go out and pretty much get those 10 right away.
Indeed.
Any questions, comments, get in touch with us. We love to talk about these subjects, and we will be back with much more, hopefully on a twice weekly cadence.
Till next time.
Till next time. See you.